Hello, everybody, and welcome to Let Me Finish, our 10th episode. Can you believe that we've done this 10 times? And in honor of our 10th episode, we're going to be doing something different. Now, I know you guys are used to tuning in and listening to Addy tell a story about his life and having me constantly interrupt him and make horrible jokes. Well, this time around, I am going to tell a story, and Atticus is going to try to stop me from telling it within 30 minutes. Doesn't that sound like fun? Are you ready, Addy? Jeez, you make it sound like I do something evil every week to you.
You do, my asshole hurts.
Is this revenge?
I guess so.
Oh, you're gonna be mean. This might be the last episode, everybody, depending on how mean everybody gets. We need to give the made-up referee a name.
Johnny Runny Shorts.
Okay, referee Runny Shorts. Oh, that's not gonna stay.
I love it.
No, I don't. Ring the bell and let's hear a story. Okay, this is your job now, man.
So what story are you going to tell today, Jason?
Well, wow, stilted. You know that I have lived a long, long life. I'm comparable to Methuselah.
Years old.
That's right. I remember the founding of this great nation, and I have a lot of stories to tell, and it was very difficult for me to pick one out.
What was George Washington like?
A little bitey, really needy.
Did you end up getting one of his wooden teeth stuck in your ass?
He didn't have wooden teeth.
Oh, I'm sorry, the porcelain teeth. Yes, they had porcelain.
Yeah. And that got stuck in my ass.
Oh, okay.
So I figured I would tell a story from when I was a wee baby, way back in 1978.
Jesus
when I was
Christ.
That's right.
That's 3 years before I was born.
When I was 9 years old.
Oh my God! What kind of hijinks could you possibly have gotten into when you were 9?
Well, this story is about how I saw a guy die.
What the fuck? How the fuck did you see someone die? What?
That's the point of the story.
And you're laughing about it? Was it funny?
Yeah.
Was it
you know how
like
tragedy plus distance equals tragedy plus time equals comedy.
I guess so. Over time, after you witness somebody's death, another human being getting smeared across the ground.
That's right. It becomes a podcast.
like that scene in the Toxic Avenger when they run over the kid.
That's exactly what that's like. So, it's 1978. I am 9 years old, and
bottoms.
Huh? Did I have bell bottoms? No, I had a lot of cords, a lot of corduroy pants, tough skins.
Those have come back recently.
Have they? Cords? Oh, I don't think they ever fully went away. And it's right after, I think it's a year after my parents got divorced. So we're living in a condo out on the outs.
You're living with your mother or your father?
I'm living with my mom. Me, my mom, my brother, and her gay lover. For those people who don't know, my mom, actually, I don't think Jill had moved in with us yet, but she was dating her. And she hadn't come out to me and my brother yet. But my mom really didn't handle her marriage to my dad really well.
Well, of course, she was gay, so I know exactly how that is.
And I'm living out on the outskirts of a small suburb called Clayton, surrounded by walnut groves, and then a gigantic mountain called Mount Diablo.
Get to the funny death. That's what we're here to listen to.
So, it's 1978, and I am home from school, not because I was let out of school, but because I had discovered the joys of cutting class.
I knew you were a naughty fucking kid.
I was a latchkey kid, okay? And,
did that term even exist in 1978?
I think they invented it just for me, because what I realized was
you could go home from school and masturbate with no one else in the house and run around naked.
I didn't even have to go to school, and I'm 9. I don't even know what my winky's for yet.
Dude, I discovered the joys of masturbation when I was 7 years old. There's something
I'm going to leave that to the fact that it was you, and you discovered things early. To me, it was just something that P came out of. But what I had discovered was my mom left for work before I left for school. And back in those olden times, 9-year-olds were allowed to walk to school by themselves.
Yeah. Back before pedophiles ruined it for everybody.
That's right. Pedophiles ruled it, not over-anxious parents.
I know the other side of it. I was just saying that.
Right.
Well, technically, they did ruin it.
Well, Kinda, except there were pedophiles back then too, and everyone said, don't take candy to strangers, don't get in strangers' cars,
And don't buy hot dogs from that hot dog truck.
That's right, especially the hot dog truck that is actually just a guy with a trench coat and the hot dogs are under the coat.
Is this the guy who dies?
No, it's not the guy who dies.
Did you murder him?
No, I didn't murder anyone at 9 years old. Yeah, I murdered him with my dick. That was the first thing I did with my penis. I was like, well, I only pee out of it. May as well murder the guy with it. No, what I discovered was that, and I'm not sure how, but I did wind up getting in trouble for this. I just didn't go to school. My mom would leave for work, and then I would just stay home. And my brother would go to school. My younger brother would go to school, and I would stay home and watch TV all day.
Did your brother go, why haven't you been in school? You were in separate grades, obviously, but
yeah.
he would go, were you in school? Why weren't you in school today?
Well, I never really hung out with my brother. He was 1 grade younger than me, so he was with the 3rd graders, and I was with the 4th graders. And so we didn't really hang out at school. We had different sets of friends. He'd run out and meet his friends and go to school, and I'd run out and meet my friends, and we'd walk to school.
And you would.
And I just decided, and we had just.
Around.
Well, we had just moved out to that neighborhood, so I didn't really have any friends to meet. My brother did, but I did. So he would go to school, and I would stay home, and I would watch, horrible TV. Like, I would watch, Wheel of Fortune when it was, because it was on during the day back then.
Oh, God.
And
what were you, like 90 years old at 9? Like, you were 90 at heart? You were like, I'm just going to sit here and watch, fucking Wheel of Fortune all day and eat ribbon candy.
As hard as this is for someone of your age to believe, the 70s back weren't catered to children. We had laws in place to prevent.
The 80s weren't catered to children either.
Yeah, they were.
Jesus, we had 4 channels to your none. I'm sorry, we had 4 extra channels.
Okay, here's the difference between you. In the 70s, we had cartoons once a week on Saturday morning. That's it. The rest of the time on TV was
that is exactly how it was for us until Nickelodeon was created in like 1988 or 89.
And Nickelodeon started in 1982.
Okay, well I didn't have it until 1988.
I remember when G.I. Joe, Thundercats, Voltron, Transformers, all of those commercial shows started coming on in the afternoons when kids would get home from school. I was a teenager when that happened. I went, motherfuckers, how come I couldn't have that when I was a kid? God.
Yeah, but you could have it then, and you probably did watch it, didn't you?
Yeah, of course I did.
Oh, of course.
Because I didn't get any cartoons when I was growing up in the 70s.
You're like, holy fuck, this shit is awesome.
Yeah, it was, and you know what? There weren't even really daytime chat shows. It was a lot of soap operas. It was a lot of, boring shit on just really boring shit on TV. Game shows, soaps, and maybe they'd show really ancient cartoons in the afternoon. And there was only
ancient cartoon. Is that like old Mickey, black and white Mickey?
Tom and Jerry, Popeye.
Oh, I watched those.
Stuff like that. Stuff that they didn't have to pay a lot for. There weren't any like Warner Brothers cartoons. Monkeys reruns and Lost in Space every once in a while.
I watched that when I was a kid.
And
I watched
the Brady Bunch, like on a loop on some channels. It's the Brady Bunch 2-hour mega block, and
I had to catch that stuff on Nick at Night.
Yeah, see, that was syndication back then. But I'd do that, and I'd lounge around, have lunch. But there was one show that
ignoring your penis.
Yeah, ignoring my penis like a normal 9-year-old.
No, you weren't. You weren't normal.
Yes, I was.
The rest of us, the rest of us have gone, holy shit.
You know what? You need to be careful about saying the rest of us, because you're including the entire audience.
But you were in California, too.
You may be in store for a really rude awakening.
I don't care. I'm going to live in my fantasy world.
Where you are
every other boy goes, oh my god, this feels amazing.
And 9-year-olds are like, yes! I don't even think I could get an erection at 9.
Fuck
I don't
you.
think that was physically possible. I did not get my hormones yet, so it wasn't even on my radar.
Okay, so it's 1978. You're really fucking weird. You're going to school. You're not
You
going
haven't even heard the rest of the story yet. This is what
I know. I
happens when you don't get your hormones.
Part where you
there
run over
was
somebody with a truck.
one awesome show that was made directly for kids from the local station KTVU.
This is Bobby the Pedophile Show.
Yeah, Bobby the Pedophile Show got on the air. It was called Captain Cosmic. It was
Not Mr.
totally
Rogers.
local. No, not Mr. Rogers. It was Captain Cosmic, and the premise was there was this like space superhero, and he had a show, and he would show things
Did he
like
wear tights?
he did. He wore black tights, a red tunic, a helmet, an obvious motorcycle helmet that was modified to make it look space agey, and his sidekick was a clunky, like cobbled together robot named 2T2. It came out. Star
Oh
Wars
my
was
fucking
huge.
god!
Yeah.
You've got to be kidding me.
It was on
All right.
Channel 2, KTVU, Channel 2 in Oakland, and that's where they broadcast from. So, of course, the robot was going to be named 2T2. And he had his own spaceship, and what he did was he showed, like, Ultraman and
Ultraman. Oh my god.
Star Blazers and Battle of the Planets and a whole bunch of other shit that you've probably never heard of. A lot
In
of
tight
Japanese...
pants.
A lot of really early Japanese anime, and then they would do like Flash Gordon, all the original Flash Gordon serials. It was just like, hey, it's free. We're going to put it on this half hour, and we're going to get our local weatherman to dress up. I don't think he was a weatherman, but to dress up in a costume and entertain kids. And one of the better parts of it was they had Pong. Okay, they called it TV Pong, and you could call up the TV station, and you had to scream "pow" into the receiver, and they'd move the paddle so that you could play Pong on the TV.
That sounds like the worst thing ever.
It was more awesome than you could possibly imagine. And I loved this show. I loved it. I loved it to the point in which I couldn't just watch it in my regular clothes.
I feel bad. I had Super Mario Brothers.
Yeah, you did.
I had the
video
original
games and
Nintendo.
Super Mario Brothers, and you had programming that was catered to you, where a bunch of fat guys in cigars sat around a table going, "What can we sell to the kids now?" And that's what you got. I got cobbled together.
Captain Tight Pants.
I got
Collins
Captain
Joe.
Cosmic and his crummy robot, which I still love to this day. I actually met the guy at a Comic-Con. He has a huge following in the Bay Area. Lots of people remember him.
But nowhere else. Is this the guy who
Nowhere
died?
else. No, this is not the guy. I watched him commit suicide on air. He's like, "What have I done with my life?" No. So what happened was I'm by myself. Unlike you, I'm not grappling with my penis. I'm doing what 9-year-olds do, which is I am not going to wear my tough skins and my striped T-shirt, or I think I had
You're sitting around in your underwear?
No, I'm wearing my clothes, and I go, you know what? I am going to dress up like a superhero. So I go into my bedroom, and I change into a pair of red pajamas. I had a pair of red pajamas. It wasn't a onesie. It was a two-piece pajama, tops and bottom.
Okay, did the back open up with buttons so you could shit?
Why would you need that if it was a two-piece?
I don't know, because
That's
people
for
were
long
weird back
johns.
then.
That's one-piece long johns, and I'm fairly certain it only existed in Warner Brothers cartoons. I don't think anyone ever actually had the trapdoor in the back.
Oh, you had a pair. You're just lying.
No, why would I need a pair? I lived in California. It never got cold enough for me to wear long johns.
Oh, okay.
So I put those
And
on.
you guys just shit everywhere. You don't actually shit in the toilet.
That's right. We're like animals out here. We actually
Exactly.
poo on plates and eat it.
So what the Republicans say is true.
That's right.
They eat the poo-poo.
So I put the red pajamas on. I put on my yellow galoshes, my rain boots.
That
you know,
yeah,
'cause I
that's
need-
rain boots for everybody else who don't know what
Yeah.
fucking galoshes is.
That's right, because I'm oldie English. I don't know who else uses galoshes.
Yes, I used to use galoshes. My
Okay.
mother used galoshes, so you're
I
not.
put on rain boots, my mom's skiing gloves, which were white, but they came up to like almost all the way up to my elbow. So I get those, and I had a red. My brother had gone as the devil like 2 or 3
Oh
Halloweens
my
with the
fucking
cape.
god!
So I grab the red cape and I tie that on, and I go running in there, and I'm ready to watch Captain Cosmic. And I am sitting down, and oh boy, I'm ready. And I think I was doing something really gross snack-wise. I picked this up from my brother. My brother used to do this, in which he would
Eating a bread ball.
yeah, but you'd roll it in sugar.
I never tried that.
You take the crust off, and then
Oh,
you
I
roll
know.
up the
I'm the
bread,
master of fat kid.
and
food.
then you'd roll it in sugar. And so I think I was probably doing that. And I'm watching because my mom would never buy snacks. And you know what? Snacks in the 70s for kids were not like snacks in the 80s because you guys had like fruit roll-ups and
No, it was actual food for you.
yeah, it was like make toast or suck on an
It
ice
had
cube.
nutritional value.
Yeah, fruit leather back there was like the grossest thing. They actually sold it in the fruit
leather
section
bag?
of
Is
the.
that what you said?
It's called fruit leather. It was called fruit leather. What people call fruit roll-ups, and it was tart, and it was like had chunks of fruit still in it, and it was like leather. It was like fruit jerky. It's not like the gummy stuff the kids have now. It's just like I don't want that. Thank you very much. It was so, but we wouldn't even get that. It was like have grapes, and I was like, oh, I'm just gonna eat a whole loaf of white Wonder Bread rolled up in sugar. Thank you.
So you are sitting in your mother's clothing, wearing
wearing a red
food,
cape.
You're eating
Red pajamas, yellow rain boots, and ski gloves. Oh, and I put on
thing ever.
I put on my little swimming goggles. You know the little ones that racers wear.
Yep.
I had ski goggles, little goggles on, and I'm watching the TV. And the TV was this huge thing, and back when TVs
Was
came
it
in.
a coffee table TV?
Yeah, so it was all wood.
Does that make you feel less old knowing that I know what a coffee table TV is?
I figured you probably saw one in a museum or on an archaeological dig somewhere.
Owned one. My parents owned one.
Okay, saying my grandparents owned one does not make me feel better, but okay.
No, my parents owned one as well.
Yeah, and we had that thing for ages because, they made things.
Did you store records on the right side and then there was a record player on the left side or on the top?
No, this was more like a really tall cabinet, but it was like solid. It was like real wood, not of that laminated sticker crap. And so I'm watching that, and it starts, and I can't even remember what the program is because I'm being bothered by the sound of an airplane. There's an airplane, like really, really, like flying what sounded like right over my house, like directly over my house.
Were you living nearby an airport or?
The closest airport to where I was Buchanan Field, and that was like 4 or 5 miles away. It was in Concord, and I was in Clayton. And most airplanes didn't really get terribly close to the mountain because it's a mountain. So it's annoying and it's really loud. And I'm watching the show and
fuck you, plane.
Yeah, as soon as commercial hits, I go outside to figure out I'm like, what the fuck is happening with the plane? And so I go outside and I look up, and it's one of those, small Cessnas, maybe holds 4 people, single wing, single prop plane, and it's flying in a
person plane. Yeah.
Yeah, and we don't really have a yard. We have like a back patio. We have like a cement patio. And I look up, and it's just kind of doing a circle around the condominium complex, kind of a tight circle.
They were
and
looking
I can
for
see
you.
it, and yeah, they were looking down, and they saw this kid dressed like a superhero staring at them from one of the patios.
That's
I
him.
go out there and I'm like, what is he doing? And I'm like, but I don't watch him terribly long because my show comes back on, and then I could play TV Pow, where I could desperately dial the phone to try to call in so I could scream Pow into the receiver and play Pong for no prize.
Fucking Christ.
Oh my God, we sound like lunatics.
Pow, pow.
I didn't know, and it's just some fat stagehand with a cigar who's like, oh God, do I really have to do this? Where he has to turn the knob to make the Pong paddle go up and down.
Pow or up or down? Would you say pow up?
Yeah, no, you just go pow and it go up, or you say pow and it would come back down again, and you had to try to time it.
That's fucking awful.
Okay, let's try to. I didn't say it was fun then. That was the future. You were living in the future. Okay, you guys had virtual reality. We had TV Pow, where we played.
I never had virtual reality.
You had it and you liked it. That was 1992. You were what, 4?
And those things probably costed like $1,000. I had Nintendo in succession. Nintendo, Super Nintendo, and then I had the N64, PS1, PS2, PS3. That's it. And I had a wealth of console games, non-console games for my PC, like Diablo and Ultima Online, and I played EverQuest. I played World of Warcraft for a little while. I realized I was wasting my life.
Yeah.
But no virtual reality.
Okay. In 1978, I had TV Pow and nothing.
And TV Pow.
That was it.
And you were dressed in your mother's clothing.
I was not wearing my
balls,
mom's clothing. I was wearing my pajamas and her gloves, eating
You were wearing
balls
her
of
underwear, and you were wearing your own rainproof gloves and galoshes.
whatever
Calling
gets you
into
through
a
the
TV
story,
station.
dude.
And saying poo, poo, and he's saying that's not the word, and you're going, oh, sorry, pow, pow.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So I come back in and I continue watching the show, and the plane is still just meh, 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 meh. And I'm young. I'm not thinking maybe it's a cop. Maybe they're looking for a criminal. Maybe I'm in danger or anything like that. I'm like, I'm just going to keep watching the show. And then
for the nuclear strike, that's what's going on.
That's exactly what it is. They're using the plane as a spotter to guide in the missile to destroy our condo complex because we're a threat to the Russians.
You are a threat.
Next commercial break.
Women's underwear, presently, you are a threat.
That's right. I represent everything that they hate. I am the free American.
Fuck Vladimir Putin.
Look at their children. Look how they dress. That is not gray and depressing like we have in Mother Russia. Destroy them all.
Destroy the little one first. He hasn't even discovered his penis.
But comrade, he wears red, which is our color.
It's okay. It's okay. So red is underwear. Women's
Full
underwear.
of nuclear strike. Hail to you, comrade in America. So I go back outside, and the plane is just still circling. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, I guess maybe he's looking for something, or he's just having fun.
It's not going to end. Back to beer pong.
I'm 9. Back to beer pong. Remember, I'm 9 years old. And back then, commercials...
You hadn't discovered your penis.
There were laws in place to prevent anyone from advertising to kids. So the commercials that would come on, you'd be watching the TV, and the commercial would come on, and it'd be like, I'm Crazy Pete. Why don't you come down to Crazy Pete's warehouse of used
Or
songs
Hamilton Beach's first dildo, because they're the people who invented the vibrating dildo.
Yeah, but they never advertised it on TV.
They didn't? Why not? That would have been great.
It was used car commercials, mattress discounters, K-Tel records. Oh, now you love songs. Nothing but love songs. And the commercials were like a minute and a half long. And they were boring as hell. There was nothing aimed like, hey, kids, buy sugar crack and eat it and tell your parents to buy it or you'll hate them. It was like there was no commercials, so as soon as commercials came on, you had to find something to preoccupy yourself. And I had this airplane, so I went back outside, stared at the airplane for a little while, and I come back in.
The airplane. Okay, I got it.
I come back inside, finish up the show. I did the POW, some other kid did the POW. I didn't do very well because I think the poor stagehand that was supposed to control when I said POW wouldn't do it. And you also have to remember that it's on a delay. So there's a 3-second delay between when you say POW and it would move on the screen. So of course you're going to miss every time. Whoever came up with ducked. It was a stupid idea. But I did do well. Some other kid.
But it was the coolest thing on earth in 1970.
It was awesome. It wasn't even in colors. It was just black and white. It was literally like watching the original Pong. So the show ends, Tom and Jerry's coming on, and I'm like, blah, Tom and Jerry, I hate that. And I'm still wearing my little outfit, and the plane's still going. But now, I don't have to come back to the show. I can go back outside and watch the plane. And I go, okay, I'll just watch the plane. This is how boring things were back in the 70s.
I have to say, the value of the entertainment you had was there was less of it.
There was less entertainment value?
No. The value of the entertainment you had back then was higher because there was less of it. You had very little to entertain yourself. These days, my kids can play with cell phones.
There was a shit ton more imaginative play. I'll tell you that much right now. You had to come up with stuff to do, and you just you couldn't turn to your little iPad or your computer or play a video game or do whatever. You had to come up with shit, or you would blow your brains out.
Yeah, so steal your parents' liquor, rob a store,
catch flies and throw them into spider webs all afternoon.
Fucking penis. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Go hiking through the creek a million times. Find porn out in the woods.
Kind of stuff when I was a kid.
Right.
I swear I was the last generation of kids that did that shit.
I think every generation.
Yeah. Hey,
Just
look at this stick. I'm gonna dig a fucking hole, and see, it's a hole.
I made a hole.
Directly after you dig that hole, what you do is you pee in it just to see how quickly the pee sinks through the
That's where
soil.
you and I part company, is the whipping out the dick to pee into the hole. That's
come
okay.
on.
No, I just didn't. That wasn't something that I did. I go outside and I'm getting ready for a good afternoon of watching a plane circle overhead. This is the excitement of being 9.
That sounds like an awesome afternoon.
Yeah.
World.
Yeah, but then the plane had to ruin it, because what happened was
It exploded.
The plane went around 2 or 3 more times and then went and nosedived directly into our condominium complex.
You are fucking lying. You are fucking lying.
It went, and then it just dropped like a rock. And there was this huge... Huh?
How far away from it were you?
Probably only about a block and a half. I mean, it was a condominium. The condos were. We lived in a 1-story, but there were also 2-story condos, and it was kind of spread out. And so it was about a block and a half from where I was. So it's kind of, all spread out. There's a pool in one area and everything else. And this thing looked like it just went straight down.
One of those heavily chlorinated pools that fucking
burns you the instant you step inside it.
And it tastes like other people.
I don't know. It tasted like chlorine and pee, I guess, is the closest.
It tasted like other people.
Right, exactly.
Anyway.
So, I'm in shock a little bit and giddy because I'm 9 years old and I just saw a plane crash, and it never, ever crossed my mind that someone died. It was like something that you saw on TV or something like that. And on TV, most planes just exploded
and you were just
in the air.
Rocket Man, so this was the most exciting thing ever.
Captain Cosmic, not Rocket Man. So
Captain Tight Pants.
Right. So I sprint out of my backyard to where the plane had crashed. I'm running in there, and I run up, and the plane we had carports, the flat carport. It had crashed under the carport and pushed someone's car through their back patio,
the pilot's head,
into their house. So the car was in come to find out what that sound was. I was like, what's going on? What's going on? And I'm telling everyone, I saw it. It was flying overhead, and then it crashed right down through. Everyone's like, well, geez, I hope everyone's okay. And people were running in, and
Did it dawn on you at this point that people may have died?
No. So I was, this was exciting. This was something happening.
Okay, you're about to tell me about severed heads and disemboweled people.
No, I'm not. Don't worry, it's not a gross story.
And that was the day he discovered his penis.
That's right. That's the day I ran home and went, okay, I've become disenchanted with life. Time to start stroking it.
Exactly. That's how it goes.
And then I wept, and I was truly a man. No, that isn't what happened. The fire department shows up, the police show up, and the police are asking everybody, and the police are asking adults. And I was like first on the scene. I'm the one that I witnessed the thing fly around and crash into the thing.
Oh, wait a minute. So in the middle of this, did it occur to you that you would, because you're a part of a statement in a police officer's report, you would have to admit to your mother that you hadn't gone to school that day?
No, that hadn't crossed my mind either. I was like, someone talk to me, I've seen everything. And
it was wicked cool. I saw an explosion.
Meanwhile, the ambulance has shown up, and guys with gurneys had gone into the house, and the person that lived in the house had apparently left the kitchen where the car crashed through just minutes before. So the people who lived there were okay. And also, luckily, the plane did not explode because the tiny amount of airplane fluid that had come out of the gas tank was just a tiny little dribble. It was not a whole lot.
So they were able to contain it.
Yeah, there was no fire. There wasn't anything like that. It was just like a huge hunk of metal just fell out of the sky. And then KTVU van shows up. KTVU, the same station.
Your own personal 9/11 to talk about.
Yeah, no, the KTVU is the one that does just watching.
Uh-huh.
So I was uber excited because I recognized the reporter that was coming out, the guy with the gigantic, huge camera to come and report on.
And had you taken off any of your mother's clothing?
No. I was trying to figure out why no one was talking to the kid that was dressed like a fucking Goodwill superhero in his yellow galoshes on a warm late spring day, and the goggles, which I had moved up onto my forehead.
No, they probably thought it was cute. They were just like,
didn't. They thought, look,
wearing his mother's underwear.
The local retard boy who can't go to normal school got out of his pen somehow.
And in the meantime, you have leather candy all over your face.
No, I know. It was called Fruit Leather, not Leather Candy. Leather Candy was a
Sounds
glam rock
anyway.
band. Anyway,
I'm gonna go check that out.
so I was trying desperately to get on TV at that point. It was like, fuck that guy. I just want to get on TV. I want to get on KTVU, and I am.
You do realize that all of this could have been averted if you had discovered your penis.
Yeah, but then I would have this story to tell. It'd just be a boring story about me wanking it. That's not
That's not
enjoyable.
boring at all.
That's boring. That is everyone does it, so it's boring. It's like telling a dream story. No one's interested but you.
I have some pretty cool dreams.
That's great. No one's interested but you.
You lie. You're interested.
No, I'm not. I could give a fuck about people's dreams. They mean nothing. It's like describing what you did at the bank.
What if I dreamt about you?
I would want to know about it simply because it would be an interesting glimpse into your psyche. But
No, I gave you $5. That was it.
Oh, okay. That's blah. Anyway, so I'm trying desperately to get the news guy's attention, and I figure the best way to do it is not walk up and say I saw everything, which would be the smart thing to do.
Instead, you went pow, pow, pow.
No, instead I start saying out loud to nobody really close to the reporter, I saw everything. Like I'm talking to no one, but there's no one around me. I'm not talking directly to anyone. I'm just kind of staring at the wreck going, I saw everything. So I look like a psychopath with this huge smile on my face. Meanwhile, everyone is kind of like, oh, that's really too bad. So
you're like, no, it was awesome. I saw people's heads explode.
I've been doing this whole I saw everything, and then they finally bring out the cart with the body bag, which had the guy who was in the plane. The guy
Isn't that the most devastating in the world?
The guy, no, it was exhilarating to me because it was like, wow, because I'd never seen anyone die. I had never been to a funeral. The only time you ever saw body bags was on TV on Columbo. Or, something along those lines. So this was like, and I was like, is that the guy? Meanwhile, everyone else is kind of being somber and everything else. Like, is that the guy? Is that the guy? And I guess I was being so loud and so annoying that one of the police officers finally came up and kind of took me aside, and he's like, do you live here? Strange little boy dressed like a superhero, and I'm like, yeah, I live here. And he said, listen, it really
go home.
No, because he was going to try to tell me. And I said, what happened? Did the plane break? And all that stuff. And he said, no, the plane did not break. He left a suicide note. He flew his plane over the condominium complex until he ran out of fuel and then crashed on purpose.
Mother of fuck.
Right.
No way.
Yeah. And the first words out of my mouth was, why would he do that? The words had no impact. It was beyond my realm of...
You have now turned into the coolest kid on earth.
I could not... The concept was so foreign to me that someone could feel so bad that they would want to do that. So that was my first... Like, why would they do that? That's dumb. And the cop's like, how far away do you live? Because there were people that were obviously upset. Someone had passed away. There was destruction. There was bad things that happened. And I was like the kid who didn't care.
I don't know about you, but I don't know about anybody else listening, but I agree. I think that would be the most exhilarating thing on the planet.
I mean,
like, holy shit! Look at that!
Yeah, I was 9. It was exciting. It was something that was happening in my otherwise dull, boring life. You go from soap operas and game shows and stupid and fruit leather and bread balls. And you go to, action, adventure, and excitement. There was a part of me that probably wished that the plane had exploded into a fireball. And so he's finally like, do you live close? Can you please go home? And I was like, oh, come on. He's like, please, go home. I was like, okay, fine.
I want to be on TV.
I go home, and my brother's in his room, and I said, hey. And he's like, hey, where were you? And then he says, why are you dressed like that?
You better
And I
take off
told him
mom's underwear right now.
I was just dressed up because I want to be dressed up, and I saw the coolest thing, a plane crash in the condominium complex. And he's like, don't lie. And I'm like, no, a plane crash in the condominium complex. I saw it. I was home. And he's like, and he was like, did you cut school? And I was like, yeah, I did. And I was watching TV, and I was watching Kevin Costner, and the plane circled around, and it crashed in the condominium complex, and this guy died. And he's like, nuh-uh. And I was like, yes, you did too. And he's like, no, because I would have seen it. It would have exploded. And I said, no, it didn't explode because he circled around over the condo complex to do his all that gasoline, and then he crashed and pushed the guy's car in there, and he died. And my brother's like, no. And I said, it's true. And he said, nuh-uh. And I said, yes, it is. And so I finally said, come on. So we go running back. It's now almost completely sunset. My mom worked late. She worked a lot. She was a single mom trying to raise 2 kids. So I drag him back to where the crash was. And he's like, holy shit. And I'm like, yeah, I know. And now he's excited. And I'm excited. The two of us, he's like, fuck, he left and brought back friends. So now there are 2 excited kids. And he comes up and he said, I asked you to go home, not to bring your friends. And I said, this isn't my friend, it's my brother. And he's like, my brother starts grilling the cop. Like, what happened? What did he do? Did he really crash on purpose? Did he commit suicide? And he's saying it in a loud kid voice. And other people are like, oh, geez, shut the kid up. This is a somber occasion. And he's like, no. Come on, calm down. He was upset that his girlfriend left him. And my brother went, he died over a girl? We couldn't have been more dismissive of this guy's last act if you tried. So the cop finally says, kids, do you want to get in trouble? And we're like, no. And he said, go home. And so we're both walking home. And the cop says, and take that fucking thing off. Because I was still wearing the costume. So we go home, and now we think we're going to get arrested. So now we think we're going to get in trouble. Me and my brother think we're actually going to get arrested for being annoying kids. And we're blaming each other back and forth. He told you not to talk loud. I wasn't talking loud. You're talking loud.
But
he's going to come home.
You to go away.
Well, here's the thing. We were like, he's going to tell Mom that we were going to problem. And he's like, no. And he's like, yes, you are. And he said, well, it's your fault because you talk loud. And he said, oh, yeah, well, if I get in trouble, I'm going to tell Mom you cut school. Like, oh, fuck. So we go home.
That is such a little brother move.
Yeah,
I would so totally do something like that to my older brother.
We go home, Mom gets home, and of course both of us are desperate to tell her what happened. Because by the time she gets back, if you were driving fast enough and you were really paying attention, you could miss the little entrance to where the whole thing was taking place. It was a small plane, it didn't do a shit ton of damage, and there was no fire. So the only thing I think was left by the time that she got there was the fire truck was there, but its lights weren't on anymore, and the ambulance was long gone. So maybe there was a cop car, and their lights and flashers weren't on either. So you could have just driven past easily. She apparently didn't see it, and she gets home. I have changed my clothes. And me and my brother shared a room, and we were like, are you going to tell Mom about the airplane? And she's like, and my brother was like, no. And I was like, come on. And he's like, no.
Oh my God, now the most exciting story in years.
We're afraid that somehow the cop would know, because we took it as, don't talk about the airplane crash. We were being told, don't talk about it to anybody. That's our takeaway from it. We were in trouble for talking about it, not being in trouble for noisy, kind of insensitive kids. We thought the takeaway was, no, don't talk about this. This isn't something you're supposed to talk about. So we were convinced that somehow the cop would find out. And it became like a contest to see who was going to hold out longer. So,
yeah, but eventually she would find out. I mean, she
would eventually, but no, she came home, she's tired. How's your day at school?
And they go, by the way, your retarded kid was out there annoying everybody.
No, they don't know. This was back in the day where they
and he was dressed in your underwear, just so you know.
No, I was not wearing my mom's underwear. So we don't say anything. We have dinner. It was Friday night.
You're telling me not to say anything in a show called Let Me Finish.
That meant, yeah, shut up. That meant The Incredible Hulk was going to be on, I think. I think that was Friday
With
night.
Lou Ferrigno.
With Lou Ferrigno, which was awesome.
Not big enough.
Sharing each other to tell us. Because we don't want to be the one that goes to jail for when the cop finds out.
You actually thought you were going to go to
Yes, we thought we were going to get in trouble. Well, my mom didn't stay up. She went in her room, she read, she went to bed. We watched The Incredible Hulk. We got tired. We went home. We went to bed. Next morning, breakfast, Saturday morning cartoons. Awesome day to be a kid. Every Saturday morning was awesome morning. Cause
you're eating a cereal bowl full of leather candy.
Yeah, eating leather candy,
bread balls,
watching cartoons.
Fried bread balls.
And we're watching cartoons. My mom gets up and she jogs. She liked to jog. So she gets on her jogging stuff.
Oh,
she's like, I'm
fit
going to
and
go out.
Active mom. I like it.
She's going to go out. She's going to go jogging. And we're like, okay, bye. And we're just watching cartoons. And she comes back and she says, there's a plane being towed. We're like, oh, uh-huh. And she's like, did a plane crash into the condominium complex? And me and my brother are like, we can't say. And she's like, why? The cop told us not to talk about it. And she's like, a cop told you not to talk about it. And then my brother said, Jason cut school. And saw crashing in the condominium complex. And that's
say, oh, motherfucker, that's so awesome.
That's how I was grounded for the first time ever. The end.
Wow.
Okay, did I win? I'm going to edit it so I did.
Exactly.
Okay, I would like to thank everyone for tuning in for 10 whole episodes of this lunacy.
I love it.
Just a reminder, you can find us on SoundCloud under Lemme-Finish. You can also find us on iTunes and on Stitcher, all free for you to download and listen to and have me and Addie cozy up inside your ears, him on one side, me on the other, slowly tonguing your ear hole.
Yeah, you love it.
Okay, that made me feel uncomfortable. I don't know how to feel.
You feel uncomfortable. You fell in love with my voice.
Okay, thank you everybody for tuning in. And until next time, this has been Jason Harding.
And I am Atticus Blake.
Thanks everybody.